I've been wanting to do a book page dress for the longest time, and I'm finally getting around to it, and I'm so excited to make it. I've had this idea in my head for quite a while, but I've been waiting to get home from college to make it because we have a lot of books in my house and a room that I just don't have in my dorm room to make such a gown that would be so delicate. So now that I'm home for winter break, I am going to make it, and I'm so excited to do it. I think it's going to turn out beautiful, and I'm really eager to see what I can come up with. Before we get too far into the video, I do want to put a disclaimer that I am not being wasteful with the books that I've chosen, nor do I think that it is an evil thing for me to do to destroy a few books. That being because my family has actually collected old, damaged, thrifted books from about the 70s for quite a few years now, and they've been sitting on our shelves kind of as decoration. So I decided what better use for them than to turn them into a piece of art, because otherwise they would continue to not be read and sit on a shelf because they are damaged and they were thrifted. So I just want to put that out there because I have received some negative feedback for this idea. Before we do get started, how about I show you my book collection so you can kind of get an idea about what I'm talking about. I think it's pretty obvious from looking at these books that you can tell they are pretty old and a lot of them are water damaged, and we got them thrifted for very cheap. And we just love being surrounded by books. We love to read books, and they're just really beautiful decorations. So this is just how I want to show you that I'm really not being wasteful, and these are not being read otherwise, and most of them are damaged. Before getting to the actual fun part of the dress, which is the actual book pages itself, I had to make a base to put the book pages onto, and this ended up being out of just some cotton fabric from Joann's, and I tried to get a color that I thought would match book pages well. So instead of doing a stark white, it's more of a cream eggshell kind of color. And it worked really well for what I was trying to accomplish because I just wanted some cheap fabric that I wouldn't have to spend a fortune on when it wasn't going to be seen anyway, and this really was perfect. I knew when I was thinking of this in my head that I wanted a long, dramatic train, so I tried to accomplish that when I cut out this half circle skirt. And I think it's going to be absolutely beautiful once I add the book pages to it, and I think it's going to be so dramatic and really be a moment. After the skirt was cut out, which was really simple, I went to draping the bodice pattern for this, and it's just a very simple bodice with a heart-shaped neckline. And it turned out really good. After I made the pattern, I did not make a mock-up, and I am just trusting my draping skills with this that it will fit me. And then once I had the pattern and the skirt done and everything cut out, I just got to sewing it as quick as possible because I was really eager to start with the book pages. This is probably the quickest dress that I have ever made. It was all in one day, from the first cut of the fabric to the final stitch, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I really like the silhouette I got, and I'm just imagining all the book pages glued onto it, and I think it's going to be really beautiful. The final step in this fabric dress was to add the grommets, and I recently just got this grommet setting tool, which has completely changed my life. It is so much easier and faster than hammering them, and I definitely recommend it. With the base dress out of the way, it's time to get to the fun part, which is actually adding the book pages. I think it took about 6 books to cover the entire skirt, and it was really simple. I just ripped the pages out and then folded them into fans, doing 2 pages at a time to kind of cut the folding time in half. And then I stapled them and basically created hundreds of fans to glue to the skirt. Many fingers have been burned in the process of gluing these book pages on, as I used hot glue and had to use my fingers on the opposite side of the fabric to hold it on. This here was 1 day's work of gluing on the fans, and it is also the place where I ran out of the fans that I had made. I was very much a fool for thinking that the books that I had used would be enough. I had an entire trash bag full of them, yet it barely covered half of the skirt. After spending another day folding fans, I just began to glue and glue and glue the fans onto the skirt. Now is the perfect time to talk about our sponsor for this video, Halara. I'm a proud owner of 6 pets, so when I found out that Halara had these pet hair resistant leggings and top, I just had to try them out. Being a seamstress, I'm always on my floor cutting fabric and working out patterns, and I always find myself getting a lot of pet hair all over my clothes. No matter how many times you vacuum the floors, pet hair is always going to be inevitable, and these leggings make managing that really easy. You simply pat off the hair and voila! Another great thing about them is that they wash so easily and still work after several washes, which I really love. These leggings and matching top have definitely been a life changer for me since I got them while I'm cutting fabric and working on my dresses on the floor a lot with my 6 pets, and I definitely recommend them to anybody who is searching for really comfortable and fun activewear. Use the link and code in the description box for 20% off of your Halara order. Now let's get back to the dress. After several days, I've finished the skirt and it's now time to move on to the bodice, which I did not have a plan for until the moment I started making it. And basically, I am going to do a pleated bodice where the pleats are going to be made out of the pages instead of what would normally be fabric. I made a bunch of these pleated pages, and now it is time to kind of play around with it and see how I want to drape them onto the bodice. Basically for the bodice, I just played around with how I wanted the pleatings, and then when I figured out a correct way, I just glued it down with hot glue, and I really liked how it turned out.